Exploring Italy's lost treasures, hidden historic landmarks. Exploring Italy's lost treasures, the forgotten map of Venice. The night was thick with the scent of rain-soaked stone as Luca Moretti darted through the labyrinthine alleys of Venice. Footsteps pounded behind him, closing in. The parchment he had stolen, a map inked in blood centuries ago, was tucked safely inside his leather jacket. Every instinct screamed at him to run faster. A bullet whizzed past, shattering a centuries-old window beside him. Luca cursed. The stakes had never been higher. The chase led him to a crumbling palazzo where the map had first been drawn. He slammed the heavy wooden doors shut behind him, bolting them just as his pursuers reached the entrance. His heart thundered against his ribs. He pulled out the map and scanned its cryptic markings. The faded ink pointed to something hidden beneath the canals, something worth killing for. But before he could make sense of it, the doors exploded inward. A figure stepped through the smoke, gun raised. Secrets beneath Rome. Luca woke with a start, his head pounding, his hands bound. He was in a candlelit chamber, its walls lined with ancient frescoes depicting the rise and fall of forgotten empires. Across from him stood Alessandra Verdi, an archaeologist he once trusted, before she sold his last discovery to the highest bidder. She held the map between her fingers, studying it with a triumphant smile. "You have no idea what you found, do you?" she whispered. Luca struggled against his bindings. "Enlighten me." She walked toward him, tilting the map to catch the flickering candlelight. The Medici's greatest secret. A vault hidden beneath Rome. Priceless artifacts, lost history. And you led us right to it. The door creaked open, and in walked Lorenzo Ricci, a collector with a reputation for making people disappear. He examined the map, and then Luca. "We don't need him anymore," he said flatly. Luca felt the barrel of a gun press against his temple. Thinking fast, he kicked the chair backward, shattering it as he hit the ground. In the confusion, he wrenched free, grabbing the candle from the table and hurling it at the map. Flames licked at the edges, sending Alessandra into a panicked frenzy. He lunged for the parchment, slapping out the fire just before it could destroy the markings. Then he ran. The hidden vault of the Medici. The tunnels beneath Rome were a death trap. Centuries-old catacombs stretched endlessly in every direction. Luca could hear Ricci's men closing in, their voices bouncing off the damp stone walls. He pressed forward, gripping the map, following its directions by the faint glow of his flashlight. The air grew colder. He felt the ground sloping downward. Then he saw it, a massive iron door set into the rock, covered in Latin inscriptions. Luca traced the carvings with his fingers. The Medici had hidden something here, something so valuable they had sealed it beneath layers of stone and secrecy. He pulled out his knife and worked at the rusted lock. It gave way with a groan. Beyond the door was a chamber unlike anything he had ever seen. Golden statues, lost manuscripts, weapons of legend, untouched for centuries. But there, at the center of it all, was what he truly sought, the Codex Imperium, a book rumored to hold the secrets of ancient rulers. He reached for it, his fingers barely grazing the cover, when the ground trembled beneath him.
Dynamite.
Ricci was collapsing the tunnels. Escape from history's depths. Dust and debris rained from above as the ceiling cracked. Luca grabbed the codex and sprinted for an alternate exit. Ricci's men were already inside the vault, scrambling for treasure, but greed had blinded them to the danger. The tunnels wouldn't hold much longer. Luca reached a crumbling staircase leading to an old aqueduct. Behind him, the vault caved in, swallowing Ricci's men and their stolen artifacts. He emerged into the moonlit ruins of an abandoned monastery, gasping for breath. Alessandra was waiting for him, gun in hand. He held up the codex.
"You want it?" he panted.
"Come take it." She hesitated. In that split second, Luca made his move, throwing a handful of dust into her eyes. She fired blindly as he tackled her, the gun clattering away. They struggled, years of betrayal boiling over. Finally, Luca wrenched free, snatching the codex and disappearing into the shadows just as sirens wailed in the distance. The treasures of Italy had claimed more lives that night. But Luca Moretti had survived. And he had the greatest secret of all in his hands. What he did next would change history forever.